For the main event. Can you give me a little more volume on this mic, please? So, upstairs at the Ritzy, how's everybody feeling on this beautiful January night? Hey, give me some signal out there. How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah, hey, thank you all for coming early. We are here, dubbing you always on the second Wednesday of every month. We've got an action-packed evening in store for you. But right about now, I would like you all to put your hands together and give a warm welcome to our special guest, Grantley G.T. Haynes.
That's a nice welcome, Daddy.
Welcome, Grantley.
Welcome. Thank you, Dave. And thanks for the audience. That's who really matter.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I'll leave it to you.
Well, so we're here to launch this fascinating book that you've written called The British Reggae Music Industry, a Windrush Legacy, My Story. Grantley, what can you tell us about this book? How long did it take you to write it, and why did you want to write it in the first place?
Right, well, I got two sons, and one of them is a singer, and he said, I'm only going to do it for you, Dad. And I said, okay, cool, man, do it for Dad and Mum. So he's done it, and he did it, 3-4 years ago? But doing it, he left it for like 2 years, and I said to him, what's up, Jay? And he said, Dad, I just don't feel that it's me right now. And I said, cool, you know you got to say to your kids, cool, because if you don't, you're in trouble. So I said, cool. But my eldest son, Christopher said, Dad, you got 2 grandchildren, and I don't know what to tell them about you. I don't know where to start. And I said, well, you got to start at the beginning. He said, but I don't know about the beginning. Only Mum knows that. And I said, all right, I'll tell you what. I'll write something down for you. Now, looking back, I thought, writing something down. I started to write, and it's a good job that when I left the music business after 15 years, I went to university and I studied, and I did 3 degrees, and I could write, you know what I mean? I could actually say, I can actually put sentences together. So I did it like that. And he came to 30,000 words. And this is me, I'm just blinded, you know what I mean? And then I showed it to him, and he said, that's good, Dad, that's good. And then a mate of mine came up and said to me, boy, you can write a bit more, Grant. And I thought about it. He said, no, Tipper's written his book, Pato's written his book, you got to write your book. So I said, okay. And I thought, my book is not just about me. My book has got to be about the industry, all the issues, the people I've met, how I started. And I didn't start with money. I didn't start with managing somebody with a contract. So I thought, I've got to talk about how I started.
Well, let's just do a quick check in the audience now. How many of you there, a quick show of hands, how many of you know who this man is? Woo! Okay, so maybe about half.
A few of them, about 1 or 2.
And so the thing is, reading this book, I got a real sense. Some of us might know you as an artist manager.
Yeah.
Some of you, if you go farther back, you would know him as a sound system man, as a selector, as a promoter. And then, as you explain in the book, you're also a man, you had a vision for the betterment of your fellow people, of the nation as a whole. So you went into, when you took a break from the music industry, you developed a drug treatment program that was adopted nationally. So I think we could say you're a man with many feathers in your cap. But
I'd say that.
Yeah, but you just mentioned a little while ago that you started from very humble beginnings, and you mention in the book that your parents came across from Barbados.
Yeah.
settled in Birmingham,
Yeah.
and you make it sound like you grew up with kind of next to nothing, you and your siblings there. Maybe you can tell the people here upstairs at the Ritzy a little bit about your heritage and where and when you grew up, what that
Right.
experience was like.
Gosh, well, I'll tell you this in minutes. If I get tearful, help me out, all right? Because life wasn't great, man. We grew up in one room. My cousins are in here, and they know because we grew up in one room for about 3 years, and we barely had food to eat. Trust me, my mum had to go out sometimes and borrow money from the next door neighbour and stuff like that. And my mum came from Barbados thinking that England was going to be a great place. And just like a lot of us in here, you know, and they had to work hard, and sometimes there wasn't a job, but they struggled on. They made it look sometimes like it was okay, because I didn't know where they were coming from, believe me, until I got back home to Barbados and I saw the pit toilets. Now this was 20 years after, 20 years after my parents came here, and my cousins were still using a pit toilet and still killing chickens in the back of the yard and stuff like that. And I started to realise, gosh, I can make something of myself. And I remember growing up and my dad used to say, you know, you gotta go to school, because when I was back home, all I got was primary schooling. You know what I mean? And he said, I want you to go to school and you gotta learn. And my uncle, it's his birthday today, and he died last year. And he made sure that I learnt. He had a house on Garrett Lane that when I came down to work at British Telecom, that's where we used to live. And he said, Grantley, I'm telling you, you've got to make sure that every moment counts. Save your money. And he looked at me and he said things like, a fool and his money are soon parted. You know what I mean? And he said, never try and tell a fool that they're a fool. You know, seek first to understand something, Grantley, and then put your point of view across. So I grew up in a back alley house after we moved from the one room. Then we moved to, they used to call it Colditz in Birmingham because it was a lot of masonettes, all that looked like Colditz. And we moved there, and then we moved to where my mum now lives in Borsall Heath, Highgate. And I looked at it and I thought, she came home from work one day and she ran up under the bed because it was so cold and we only had one heater. It was like in the front room. And she ran up under the bed crying.
Yes, so, I mean, one thing that comes across in the book very much is that you had a strong work ethic from early. You took those words of wisdom from your parents and your uncle, and you knew you had to do better for yourself. And indeed you did. And you make it clear in the book that music plays a big part in that from early on.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell the good people here a little bit about your involvement with music, how it first happens on sound systems, and what happened from there.
Well, once I'd seen my mum witness that, I looked at her and I said, Mum, you will never have to work again as long as I live. You won't suffer this again as long as Grantley's here. And that gave me a driving force, and that's when my mum told me that my granddad was murdered in Barbados. Because my granddad was this guy who learnt through reading. He learnt the law through reading. And he, lots of people don't know this story. He learnt the law from reading books and books and books. And You know, there was a guy called Sleepy Smith who really, really kind of liked him, and Sleepy Smith ended up fighting the case to keep Ronnie Biggs from extradition when he was in Barbados. I don't know if you know about that, but that was one of the guys. So my granddad, you know, plead this case for this poor woman, and he won the case, and the plaintiff was so disgruntled that she paid 2 guys to beat him up. What happened is they beat him up to the point where they killed him. They smashed his head in with a sledgehammer. And that made me say, boy, you'll never be broke again, because I've got to fulfill the aim and objective of why my parents came here. So, yeah.
Yes. So, and then you were mentioning in your school days,
Yeah.
you naturally get attracted to the sound systems that are springing up in your neighborhood, specifically right there in Ballswell Heath,
Thanks.
and in Birmingham more generally. So tell us a little bit about how you actually became involved.
I had a lot of friends, you know, friends at school, friends who used to live down the road from me, and they were of this, you know, similar. They were Jamaican, Barbadian, from St. Kitts, Nevis, and places like that. And one of the guys built a sound called Jute Wally, and we kind of embraced this sound, and that led to so many opportunities, because that led me to meet people like Blacker Dread, Natty from Frontline, and I used to come down to London to buy dub plates with Vincent, or Crooks they used to call him, and we used to stay on Blacker Dread's floor. We used to, you know, buy dubs and from Festus and stuff like that. And those guys really kind of embraced us and took us under their wing. So that, I didn't know that that was going to come in useful in years to come when I became a manager. So I was in the sound system business, and we won, you know, we won the youth cup in Birmingham. And we won it from a really good sound called Jamassic and Radix, you know, they played down here. And I remember getting into that in a big way. So moving on from there, I then formed my own little system called GT 600 Roadshow, and I built it myself, because by this time I was going to college, you know, learning electronics and stuff like that, because I got in this, you know, I gotta learn this, I gotta learn that, I gotta learn. And that brought on a wide variety of opportunities. I met Rankin Roger from The Beat. I met Dave Wakeland, you know, I met people like Pat O'Banton, Peter Spence. You know, I was playing my gig once, and one of Pato's brothers was, you know, in my set, and we were playing against this sound, a battle at the time. And I said, go and call Pato, tell him I need him. Pato comes traipsing into the dance, and Pato just lets off. The crowd, about 200 people, were just, it was amazing. You know, anybody that knows me knows that I've never used drugs. I've never smoked weed, nothing, not even a cigarette. But I haven't got a problem with anybody who does, because obviously you would know that everybody around me is smoking weed. But I used to get a vibe from just small things, and, you know, the vibe of the crowd, you know, responding to stuff that I was doing. It was amazing. So I remember now this is crunch time. So Pato and Peter, Pato gave the mic to me, and everybody said, let Peter sing, let Peter sing. So I was playing Roots Natty, the B-side of Johnny Clark's Roots Natty, And I put the B-side on, and Peter sang. Whoa. Blew me away. So I said, I'm going to do something with you one day. That led to me going to Peter's mum and dad's house and saying, I want to sign your son. And they said, well, I don't know what Peter want to do. Peter, come down. So Peter came down and he said, Daddy's good, man. You know, well, if you want to do it, want to better do it good. You know, want a foolishness. Right? So that, I now had a job to do. But at that time, I was already managing Pato Banton.
So there's some pivotal moments that come up in this book. So the first one you already, thank you for sharing about the murder of your uncle. It's very moving in the book.
Grandfather.
Yeah, sorry, your grandfather. And then, so you mentioned this, after there was a sound clash and you drew for Pato and Pato slaughtered the place. And then Pato was getting offers and he's starting to fret.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Tell me about what happened.
And if
This
John
is so pivotal.
McGilvery's in here, he will tell you, because he was there. This is the Lyceum, right, in central London. Maxi Priest is there. Smiley Culture's there. Asher Senator's there. And Asher's in the room. Thank you for coming, Asher. Yeah?
There you go.
Right, Asher Senator was there. And I was with Smiley and Asher, because I was down the night before, right? So we go into the Lyceum, go backstage, and somebody says, boy, we need to fill a space. And Pato had recorded 2 songs for Fashion Records, yeah? And those songs were, it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it, and it was the boss. Right? And boy, Pato, I said to Pato, you've been on already? No, man. But they want you on. He said, I can't go on. I said, you're nuts, man. I want you to do this for me. And Pato came to me and he said, you know what? If you want me to do it, G, I'll do it. Now, I'm not managing Pato at this time, but I say, I want you to do this for me. So Pato said, what song? I said, Hello, Tosh. He went, that stupid song. Are you nuts? That'll crucify my career. I said, listen, man, you ain't got no career right now. Because I didn't hear nobody talking about you when I came in here. So right now, you got to do something right now. And I said, if I'm the only one jumping up and down, I'll embarrass myself for you. So he said, all right then, tell Rodigan to put on the B-side of Every Posse Get Flat, Bloodfire Posse Rhythm. And you hear it. This one is a day to check. Pato's coming out, and Pato's doing the Chaplin dance, coming out, singing, hello, Tosh, got a Toshy, but. That place lift up. John, am I lying? The place lift up. Rodigan pulled up the track about 6 times. Pato could not finish that lyric. That was the start of Pato Banton. A week or 2 later, we was talking to Lorna G. And Lorna G said, nah, man, you got to come and do something with Mad Professor, man. And Pato said, boy, all of them want me, G. I said, you're going to do something with Mad Professor, and then we'll go back to all of them. Right? We'll go back to all of them, because the tunes that you want to do, Pato, no, Britain ain't for you, man. You can do stuff now and again, but right now, it's tongue-in-cheek that they want. They want stuff like Hello Tosh, and you ain't got a basket full of them tracks. You got conscious tunes. So I want you to do your conscious tunes with my professor, and I want you will then move outside of the UK. He went, outside the UK? I said, outside of the UK.
So, speaking as a true-born Californian, somebody who grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area,
Yeah.
that time in the 80s, Pateau became huge. So one thing that comes through in this book, you know, there's one time early on when you're driving somewhere with Pateau in the middle of the night. He's saying, I'm getting all these offers and I need management. What am I going to do? And you say, you don't even think about it. You just say, I'll manage you.
Yeah.
So
Never managed a person in my life.
What came across?
But I had learnt, right, about advice. You know, Smiley took advice from me. Asher took advice from me. And me and them guys, right, were tight. Asher's my brethren. Smiley was my brethren. I could talk to Smiley like I'm talking to you now. I mean, Asher, do you remember that time when we was in my flat? And I was getting harassed by people in, you know, Birmingham who I was promoting dances, and one of them phoned up and said that you have to give me some money if you put on this dance. And there was an empty box that I had some flyers in. And I looked at the box and I kicked the box. And I frightened Asher Senator and Smiley Culture. Now, if you know them guys are not frightened by anybody. So I was shook now. I'm saying, gosh, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. But I was so mad that somebody had the audacity. And later I said to one of them, I said, the biggest of them, I said, listen, here's the deal. I'm willing to die tonight or tomorrow, but you're not living off me. Never. I'm willing to die first. And they must have believed me. Because guys, I'm telling you now, I was willing to die. Because I was not going to have that happen to me.
Yes, so again, what comes through in the book is you're very adaptable. Once you take on the management role, you don't just bluff your way through it. You educate yourself. You went and you got as many books on the music industry as you could find, and you read them all. It helps, your decision-making process.
In about 3 weeks, I read about 6 books. And when I stood up in front of anybody, I was able to address them not as a gangster or not as somebody who would kick off, but somebody who understood there's 2 contracts, publishing and recording. First of all, there's 2 sides to music, a song. There's the music and there's the lyrics and the melodies. Okay? Really important. Because when you come to sharing out who has written a song, those become really important. And the earlier you sort out who gets what, the better. All of it's 2 chapters I've written in the book that deal with contracts, that deal with PRS, MCPS, licensing, sync licensing, every kind of license that you need when you're in the music business. When I was getting the book edited, I got a friend called Mandy, she's in here somewhere, and she said, you come to life when you're talking about contracts, publishing, the music business. It's because I knew it. I was excited by it. Another thing I said to people, I said, there's 2 sides. There's whether you want money or whether you're doing this for the love of it. And I did it for the love of it, but I also wanted to live. So I made sure that anybody around me was going to live, they were going to make money from it, or else what's the point of having a manager? A manager's supposed to make you money, yeah? So I looked at those two things. Another thing, and my cousin's in here, she'll tell you I kicked off at her once. I said, listen, if you want to be a singer, people have got to feel it from you. They've got to feel that emotion, because that's what's going to get them in a building ready to listen to you. It's got to come from there. And they've got to feel it. And if they don't feel it, you're not good enough. Go back to the drawing board. Managing Sandra Cross once, I said this at her ball, so she's not going to get upset with me. Sandra said to me, she said, the music business isn't as good as it was back in the day. I said, no, because I don't think a lot of you are really working as hard as those Jamaican artists. And you've got the talent, you've got it all, but you're not working as hard. You're not giving the people what the people really want. They want to see you almost in tears when you sing songs. They want to see you, right, tired. They want to see you guys sweating, just like the big artists like, you know, the Rolling Stones. If you want to make money like them, that's what you got to do. And the one guy that I can tell you now, and I'll take this, I don't know if Asher was there that night, but I was in Smiley's house, and Smiley had an album full of studio ones, and Maxi Priest was sitting down from about here, our distance, and Maxi just started to sing. He sang about half of his album over those Studio One tracks. And when he finished, he said, what do you think? This would be before Erskine. He said, what do you think? I said, you're going to be huge. And he went, yeah. And you know Maxi's smile, big broad smile. Yeah? He moved from there. And you tell me if I'm lying, whenever Maxi got on that stage, that place would be tearing up because he loved it. John and I talked about it like yesterday. That man loved what he did.
So in a moment, we're going to open things up for question and answers so that you, the good people here upstairs at the Ritzy, can put your questions to our special guest, Grantley G.T. Haynes. I've just got one last question for you before we open things up.
Okay.
So you mentioned later in the book that there came a time when you felt that need to step away from the music industry. Now, it wasn't permanent, it has to be said, because the music kind of pulled you back eventually. But like we were saying before, you moved into youth work, and then you devised this drug treatment program that was adopted nationally. It was an award-winning program. And yeah, it's quite another chapter in your life that you touch on in this book, but apparently there's another book coming about that. But so Grantley, can you tell us a little bit about why did you feel that need to step away from the music industry when you did?
I was at the height of our career, and I gotta say ours, because Tipper, Pato, and Peter, we were all like brothers. And I was in Japan with Sweetie Ariad. Sweetie I was on tour as well, and we was in Japan for 10 days. We did Nagoya, Osaka, and Tokyo. And those guys out there then were so sharp, so good at what they did. They reprogrammed for us our Yamaha DX7. Do you remember that, anybody? The DX7, the Yamaha synthesizer. Yes. Right. They reprogrammed that with new sounds in it. So I'm there, I'm on the mixing board because that's what I did. To keep costs low, I was also the mixer, the driver, and all of that. So I was there, and you get home, back to the hotel, and you got about 3 hours to kill. And I'm lying on my bed, and I said, let me call the family. Picked up the phone, and my youngest son said, Dad, I want you to come home. So, about 3 months after that, we got home. We got back, and I said, respectfully, Tipper, I gotta give you 6 months' notice. I said to Peter, 6 months' notice, Pato, I'm coming out. And I came out, and don't tell me I didn't regret it, because I did. I regretted it. In here, but out there, man, I was able to be there for my kids. I was able to take my kids to, New York, California, Morocco, everywhere. I had such a ball with my kids. They were so happy that was worth it, man. Truly worth it. And missing girlfriends, boy, my heart would break too often, man. I remember I was with a girlfriend in California. She used to live in Culver City. And after one tour, we was going home. And she said, I don't want you to go. And I said, I'll be back, man, I'll be back. And when we was at the airport, LAX, to come home, some of the guys said, gee, she's over there, man. I said, what are you talking about? And they said, she's over there, suitcase and everything. Jesus Christ. I had to break the worst news to someone that I really, really cared about. Heartbreaking. So if anybody ever asks me why I'm single at the moment, that's the reason, because I love my work too much. And it's not fair to do that to somebody that you really care about. Right. So I'm moving to a point where I can be free enough to balance it. But you guys know better than me, because there's some great men in here, and you manage to balance it. So teach me the skills that I need to have, man. Gosh, because sometimes I just can't do it, guys.
Okay, so on that note, who would like to put the first question to our special guest? I'm sure you've all got plenty of questions here. There's all kinds of fascinating things in this book. It's a very enjoyable read. It's written in a very unique style. I recommend it highly. So, yes, question at the back. Do we have...
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Currently, what's your greatest highlight in terms of British reggae music industry that you can speak of?
Well, I've got to say this. It is my greatest highlight was to see Tipperary on top of the pops, and then Pato Banton on top of the pops, and then Maxi Priest, Smiley Culture on top of the pops. Listen, there is nothing greater than that. Ask John how he felt when Smiley Culture was on top of the pops. Even a midweek position, because guys, at that time there was a midweek chart position, right? And if you hit the midweek chart position high enough, you were going on top of the pops. You were getting that call to go down to Television Centre. All right? That is my... And then to see my kid's face, and my dad's face, and my mum's face, that's the greatest highlight.
Thank you. I think we got a question this side, yeah? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
My name is Colin Robbins. Reggae Museum to be. I met you, and when I met you, I realized that you're not just a simple man. Thank you very much for bringing your children through this. A lot more father want to do that. Then we'll have some respect and we can go forward, yes. I've seen what you've done for the reggae world. And thank you very much. And let's hope others can learn from you as well, so we can adjust ourselves and fit into the marketplace. Okay, so it's a huge, huge, huge. I was told that last year reggae made £2.8 billion. But where is it gone? Where is it gone? So your book has got so much to teach us. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you for that comment, yeah.
Thank you.
Any last questions in the house? Oh, yeah.
My name is Garfield Robinson. No relation, but related. And, basically, let me start in respect, right? So I was introduced to Grantley by my friend Colin, and we've just been to a history lesson, whether we believe it or not. And I want to congratulate you on what you have done, because you could have kept all the knowledge in your head, but you have put it out there to share with all of us and all who are interested. So I just want to congratulate you again, and all the best with whatever else you put your hand to.
Thank you very much. That's a big thing. That's a big thing that you said there, and I'm grateful for it. And yourself, Colin Robinson.
Yes.
Grantley, I'm very, very proud of what you have done, the contribution in the reggae music industry, and it is very important for future generations to be able to have a book like yours that shows our story written by us, because you have to live it to write it.
Especially when it comes to reggae, because there's so many people out there. And believe me, I don't think that everything in there or everything is in there, but it's a start. It's somewhere where we can start.
It's impossible for everything to be in there, but it is a necessary part of the foundation that you have done. And what I would like you to do now is to explain to people, because we met in the 80s.
Yeah.
When I got
1986.
Right. When I got you and
Tipper. Yeah.
to become the first British-based reggae act to perform and sing in Jamaica for my brethren, Leng.
Yes. Isaiah Leng.
And the others came after, but I arranged so that Tipper, Irie and you were the
Yeah.
first. So tell people here of that experience in Jamaica and how.
You want me to tell them the whole experience? I'll give them some tidbits.
The highlights, yeah.
Right, okay. As Mandingo said, I met him outside of Brixton tube station, and I told him what we needed to be able to go and do Sting, and it wasn't a big list. Said, I need this, 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 and this. I won't go into the business end of it because it's Tipperari's business as well as mine. So I said, I need this, 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 and this. And once I've got it, I can shake your hand and I'll sign whatever needs to be signed. We went to Sting because Mandingo was the person that without Mandingo we couldn't have gone there, because Jamaica's not an easy place. Right? So when he told me about Isaiah Leng, I did a bit of research and I found out that Isaiah Leng wasn't just the promoter of Sting, he was also a policeman, a decorated policeman in Jamaica. So I got there and I did the same as I do with people, dealt with business, and Leng said, yeah man, me like you man, you alright. So, carried on with that. Tipper did Sting, did his job, did it well.
Yeah, because I never get no battle.
No, man, not one. But remember, he's a Saxon MC, and if Asher's here, he will tell you, being a Saxon MC, you have to step up. Yeah? So, when Tipper hit the stage, Tipper said, I said, are you nervous? He said, come on, Granny, everybody gets nervous. But once he hit that stage, it gone. Yeah? And he let go. And it was him and Admiral Bailey. And no, there were no winners that day. Right? But afterwards, we're at Waterhouse, and I'll tell you something about Isaiah Ling. We're there at Waterhouse, and we was moving. I'd moved from Waterhouse, left Tipper at Prince Jammy's studio, and I went to see Ling at Jonestown Police Station. And Ling was just there, me and him was talking, and he got a phone call. He said, GT, Bigger Ford just get shot. He just jumped out of the seat and said, come. The minute he said come, it was about 2 seconds that me and him was in his car, and he was driving through Tivoli Garden. And if anybody knows Jamaica, Tivoli Garden is not an easy place to drive, being a policeman as well, right? So I saw and learned that the no fear attitude that I had, Ling had more about 10 times. Because he did not, he was just, the greatest thing about learning from people and then being your mentor is to understand where they get their power. And his power came from inside of him. So I learned, and he managed it very well. So big respect to Ling. You're a diamond to me, man. You know what I mean? I'll never forget you. And the guys from Waterhouse, Peter Metro, all them man there. Big up if you hear this. Respect, and respect Mandingo, because without learning how to get on with certain people, some of us push people aside. Boy, I'm not talking to him, or I'm not talking to her. But the beauty is when you can cultivate relationships with people that you can't get on with, don't see eye to eye with. And if you don't do that, you're going to be out in the wind. So to be in it, you've got to be ready to win it. And to win it, you've got to push your sinews to the bone. So guys, that's what I'll say about Ling and Mandingo, because they were like that. And you would not believe it if you didn't see them both in action. It's just like I watched Winsome and Paulette Taja. Best time I've ever seen them perform was at Sandra Cross's awards night. And I'm not sure I told them, but if I didn't tell them and they're here, remember this from me. You guys were brilliant. You're an example to the lovers rock genre. Right? Because there was, I think I only caught a few flat notes, and that is hard when you are doing live. Is she here? Is that Winston Burrell here? Ah, Paulette's here. Guys, these are the pillars of the lovers rock. You know, you've got Victor Romario Evans, you've got Janet Kay, you've got, Carol Thompson, and you've got Sandra Cross, but these guys are also part of it. And the one thing I tried to do when I wrote this book is put every artist that has reached above top 10 in there. And I put my personal view of what I feel about their voices.
Yeah.
I describe it in my view.
And that's what makes the book so special, is that these first-hand accounts, your first-hand experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, big round of applause for GT.
Thank you,
And
man.
we're going to be shifting into the musical segment of the evening. Grantley, I think you're going to be back over there signing books at that table.
And
This is your chance to get your signed author copy. So don't hesitate. The man is here.
can I do this?
Yes.
I want somebody to give me a question. That's an uncomfortable question.
Why can't you manage Smiley and Asha?
And that comes from the horse's mouth. That's Asher Senator talking there. Smiley and Asher, boy, you know when you're committed, and you know me, Asher. I was committed to Tipper, and I was committed to Pato, and as a lovers rock singer coming from Birmingham, I was committed to Peter. There's only so much you can do, but I always knew that you both, those guys never came to Birmingham and not treated me with respect, the utmost respect. I could never come to London and have an issue in London and Smiley Culture and Asher Senny to know about it, and then not come like the police to aid me. There was no dance. You see, when Smiley Culture came anywhere and he was performing, and they said, no, me have to call Smiley. What I call me for? Bring him in. And my boss that, and if you not let him in, me not chat you tonight and I keep on the money. Loyal to the bone. Asher, loyal to the bone. Tipper Irie, he's not here, or else he would be here. He's not in the country. But if he was here, he'd be right in front. Okay, Pato is in California. That's where he lives. Like Elsnore. He would be here. I don't know where Peter there, but but I know where Terence Wallen is, and he's the person that I'm working with right now. He's the voice of Gregory, right? So I'm so proud of you, man. You are a performer.
So, and I think you said we've got, the gentleman is going to give us one track as a PA, correct?
Yeah.
So, Grantley, why don't you just shift yourself over there? We're going to prepare ourselves for after the gentleman graces us with a song. We're going to have our guest selectors, Angus Taylor and Cecil Rubin, taking over the decks. So, as he makes his way across,
Can I ask for a big hand for David Katz? He stretched me today.
Big thank you, Grantley, for enlightening us everything that's in this book, and thank you for being with us here tonight.
Hi, good evening all. My name's Terence Wallen, and first of all I want to say congratulations to Grantley Haynes on such a magnificent book. I've had the pleasure of reading it. It's outstanding, I've learned so much, and as the great gentleman said, it's a history and I learned hiding, so glad to see you. So yeah, my name is Terence. I am what I call the cool ruler. You know, go already. DJ anytime ready, not set it off. Goes like this. Please don't you hurt her, though she wants to an arrow in my heart. Though she isn't in my top 10, still she's on my chart. The way she loved brings sweet, sweet memories. Oh gosh. Maybe it's the beginning of her misery. I mean it. But I don't care whose girl she been, you see, yeah. Lord, no. Cause she still taking lessons from me. Though she isn't in my top 10, still she is on my chart. Lord of mercy. Sitting in the back bench, still she's a student of my class, yeah. The way she loves brings sweet, sweet memories. Oh gosh. Maybe it's the beginning of her misery. I mean it. But I don't care whose girl she's been, you see, yeah. Lord no, 'cause she's still taking lessons from me. Oh, yeah. No joke about it. I mean it. No joke about it. Oh, Lord, yeah. Thank you very much. Big up Bagger John, you know.
One more time for Terrence Warland. One more time for G.T. Haynes. And right about now, put your hands together. A warm round of applause for our guest selector, Angus Taylor.
Okay, I'm here with the man himself, Mr. David Katz. David, how was tonight and the whole of this journey that you was marshalling tonight?
Yeah, I've thought it was a beautiful night. I mean, Grantley Haynes, this book that he wrote, there's a lot of really fascinating, pertinent, and moving content because he's writing from his own experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, Grantley started with nothing, and he made something of himself.
Yeah.
And he did it in a way that was very unique, very much in keeping with his drive and his vision. And at the same time, the book also tells people a lot about reggae, a lot about the journey of his parents, that Windrush generation that came across to Britain, and also about what he learned when he got involved in the industry.
Sure.
So, yeah, so it was great having him here. You know, he got a little emotional.
did.
We all
He
in
did.
the house, everybody got emotional. Because when
So-
you read this book and you're hearing about them all, as he said, they were all in one room.
Yeah.
And,
So have
you
you
know,
read the book?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
From start to finish?
I did. Yeah,
Wow.
Grantley met with me sometime in November, December time. Yeah, and he had an advanced copy of the book. So
okay.
yeah,
So you had a
I
chance
took
to
it off.
kinda go
I
through
did
it.
read it.
We're
And
here
yeah,
at the book launch of the British Reggae Music Industry, a Windrush Legacy, my story, and we got the man of the moment. We've got Mr. Grantley Haynes right here, man. What a fantastic evening we've had tonight. And
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like this. Seriously, I did not expect it to be like this. I thought that it would be really low key. I thought that there'd be a few people here, and I thought that we'd be able to have a nice, intimate conversation. But boy, I found myself in tears at times.
yeah, you did seem quite emotional. Was it writing the book quite emotional?
Very, very, because, you know, at times I didn't say it upstairs, but,
Yeah.
you know, I nearly lost my career because of making certain decisions, but they turned out to be the right decisions because I think I'm somebody that does never give up. I do not give up. So whatever I aim to do, it comes from here and here at the same time, and I do it with the intention. So when Asher Senator said to me, why did I not manage Smiley Culture and Asher Senator? It was really because I had too much on my hands. And if you've got too much on your hands, that can be a failing, you know what I mean? But the thing about Smiley and Asher and I, we were so tight that they could always ask me for advice. They could always get information right? And sometimes payment in kind is better than pound notes.
One of the things here I was trying to figure out in terms of the book was like, what kind of period was it over? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? I mean,
Wow,
what is what?
Yeah, man, that's a really good question. That's over 40 years there. You know what I mean? And if I include my younger years where I used to play my dad's gram when he went out, you know what I mean, and sleek and play the blue spot gram, boy, you're talking about nearly 50 odd years.
Yeah, yeah.
So sneaking out of the house and going to dances, going to London to see Festus and Black Dread when I'm 15 years
That
old.
wasn't Coxon, it was Festus.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, man. That was Festus, Blacker,
Yeah.
Natty.
Yeah.
Them, man.
Put it on hold sec.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
No worries.
I'm really sorry. Go on, man. Seriously.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, let me just start with a quick question. Yeah? Someone, you ready?
Yeah. Just stand up, parallel.
Okay. Yeah. So, from what I was understanding, you know, this journey of yours has been a complete learning journey. I mean, was that like that for you?
Well, how it is for other people, sometimes it's not the same. Because remember, we all as people see things differently. Like if I was to say to you, how do you see reparations? You might see that differently to me. But we all understand what it is we want or what it is we want things to look like. And it's that perspective that is important, that we share. Because once we share honestly, once we share honestly and we accept what somebody says, whether we like it or not, we will learn from it.
Sure.
And that's what I've learned throughout my life, is embrace what somebody says about you. That's why I ask people to ask me tough questions, questions that I might not like, because I want to learn here today, because that's the information that I want to tell my sons. That's the information I want to share with my friends.
I did kind of understand from what you were saying that the journey had been emotional in terms of, in terms of how you might have seen your impact on your family and how you've seen things from your family. From a professional point of view, what things did you get from that journey?
From that journey, I learned how to manage people. I learned that everybody is different. Everybody feels pain. Everybody feels hurt. Everybody gets depressed. Everybody wants to cry. Everybody feels love for something or somebody. What we need to do is connect with that individual. And sooner or later, if we're true, if we're empathic, if we're congruent, if we're understanding, they will accept it. But one thing, nobody will trust you once they learn that you're not fair and you're not honest.
I hear that. So, is this the beginning, the end, or the start of your journey?
That is the start of my authorship.
Okay.
Yeah? That is the start.
And the ringing of your phone.
Yeah? Well, let me... That is the start of me as an author. I've written another book, which is probably going to be out around May.
Okay.
Right? That's called Crack Cocaine, Treatment and Me. So when I left the music industry and I said I took a break, I came out to do that.
Okay. So the last question I'd like to ask you, is there a film, a play, a movie in this book?
You know what, I've already had that question. And the greatest thing is there's a lot of good people. You yourself has impressed me when I met you in December, and your guy here. I was totally impressed. So when I spoke to you, that impression just continued. So I'm telling you right now, whatever comes from this, you're going to be involved.
Oh, thank you.
Hold me to account.
Okay.
Whatever comes from this and whatever you want me to do, say if you say, gee, I'd like, we're doing something here and we'd like to have you there. I can't afford to pay you. Yeah? We'll look for payment in kind.
Sure.
You've got me, man.
Respect, man.
Yeah?
Well, look,
Michael Garrison, thank you very
it's a
much.
pleasure knowing you and working with you. I'm also impressed with this, I would say, Bible, your Bible, yeah? And to make sure that, you know, people purchase this
Yeah.
and get a sense of the history and our journey, the whole of our journey, because it represents our community.
Yeah.
Grantley, thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
this
Michael.
evening and so.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.